Yo guys, it's Rinkor here, and thank you so much first of all for the amazing support for my most recent video, which hit well over 350k views and numbers still growing. I did not really expect that to happen. However, when I went through the numerous comments under my video, one thing really stood out to me, and those were comments claiming that Zombie Shambles is not the rare stance in Fortnite. It should rather be Fresh, aka Bel Air in German and French, because it hasn't been out in the longest time. We're talking 2450 days nearly. Now, the most important factor if we want to know an item's rarity is obviously the amount of owners. A very good example here would be Cocteau, which is a French streamer Twitch drop, an emoticon and a spray to be exact. And it is confirmed that it has around 25k people who own it. Well, now you might think, okay, that's not too many people, consider there's millions of people who play Fortnite. But the thing is, you will see it very often in Party Royale, for example, because a lot of people who play that mode have it. Does this make it any less rare though? No, of course not. It doesn't matter how many times you have seen it in Party Royale. What matters is the amount of owners, which is the only true indicator of an item's rarity, because the number will stay the same regardless if you have seen it thousands of times in Party Royale or never. It will stay the same at 25k people, more or less. What if we don't know an exact number though? How are we supposed to know how rare an item really is? And I've came up with the perfect formula in order to know how rare an item is, consisting of 5 parts. The most important factor in my opinion is the amount of times an item has been to the item shop, and a very good example here would be Zombie Shambles, because it has been out only one single time, and if you did not play that exact day, well, you've missed it. If you compare this now to Fresh, which had been out 30 times, you clearly see a huge difference in between those two. Meaning, people back then had the chance to buy Fresh on 30 occasions, while for Zombie Shambles you had to play on this exact very day in order to obtain it, and if you did not, you could have never gotten it again. So it is only natural to assume that Fresh is not rarer than Zombie Shambles, because people had the chance to buy Fresh way more times than Zombie Shambles. The second most important factor, which goes hand in hand with the amount of appearances, is the attractiveness of an item. Like, for example, Recon Expert, and if we're being honest, she isn't objectively the best looking skin. This may also apply to the BBW skins, as they aren't attractive for the objective eye, meaning not too many people own them, even though they were in the shop pretty recently. And if you consider the third factor, which is the V-Bucks price, with the other two, we can already estimate how rare an item really is. Because think about it this way. If something is really expensive and has been out only a few times, and on top of that is ugly as well, almost no one bought it, and a good example here would be Shaman skin. It was very ugly and expensive, 1.5k V-Bucks, and had only 4 appearances as well. So that's why I think it is the rarest shop skin, although World Cup Warrior might be rare when it comes to days. The fourth point is the context, meaning during what time an item was available in the shop. Like here, for example, the Skull Trooper during Halloween. If we combine now these factors with the other 3 I've mentioned previously, we can easily refute the claim, for example, that Travis Scott is one of the rare skins in Fortnite, which is not true at all. Yet a lot of people think that way, because they believe that days matter the most, which would also mean that Travis Scott is automatically rarer than Rue, as he hadn't been out in a longer time than her. Which is obviously not true. Sorry, Travis Glazers. Okay, so we know that Travis Scott had 6 item shop appearances in total, and it was a very attractive skin to buy back then. And although it cost 1.5k V-Bucks, which is relatively high, it was during a time where lots of people had been confined in their room because of COVID-19, and also it was during one of Fortnite's biggest events. So we can easily conclude that Travis Scott is way less rare than usually portrayed by the Fortnite community. Even though I'm not a fan of the days of absence theory, it does matter admittedly to a certain degree. If we are taking a look now at the Rune Agent skin, which is the item shop skin which hasn't been out in the longest time, over 2600 days ago, we quickly notice that he is not rare at all actually by using my formula, because firstly, he had 77 shop appearances, which is a lot. Secondly, he was pretty attractive and appealing for most players back then. Thirdly, given the fact that he was a very popular skin, lots of people didn't care about the price, which was 1,500 V-Bucks or 5 euros or dollars respectively, as it was at the same time a starter pack skin as well. Which brings us to the fourth factor, which is the context, meaning he was the first starter pack skin as well in Fortnite, meaning lots of people were very curious about it and bought it. And now, if we combine now all those again, 77's appearances, it was a very cool skin, meaning the price was also justified. And it was during a time where lots of people played, and it was also the first starter pack skin, sparking interest in most players. That makes it pretty apparent that he is not rare at all, actually, even though he has 2600 days. But as I said earlier, days do slightly contribute to rarity, in the sense of the longer an item hasn't been out, the less likely it is that there are still accounts around with that certain item, since a lot of accounts are being abandoned or even banned after some time. Essentially meaning that Fresh very well may be a very rare emote, although it has 30 occurrences and was a very cool emote and during Fortnite's peak back in chapter 1. That being said, I hope I could shed some light and clear up some misconcept about an item's rarity determination, and I hope my formula will help you guys in order to find out how rare an item actually is.